All right. Welcome to the Nothing Stronger Show. Today we're talking with Kristen. Kristen's been a member of us for just about a year now. She's been absolutely crushing it in the wild and crazy Tuesday, Thursday, 7 a.m. crew, which I'm pretty sure I can't invite any new members to come into because they may not stay. So that being said, welcome to the show, Kristen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First things first, how did you hear about Nothing Stronger?
I heard about it through a colleague of mine who I went to for physical therapy when I had a back injury. I had a disc injury and I was immobile for a while. So I went to physical therapy. And while I was there and as I was improving, she recommended your gym to me as a way to continue my recovery under the care of healthcare professionals that knew that injury, right? And knew how to help me integrate back into strength training and physical fitness for everyday life after PT was through. So, yeah, she recommended me, and yeah, I love every second of it. Best decision I ever made.
That's really like, honestly, who we help is the people that need to bridge the gap because the physical therapy is coming to an end. What to do next? They're not sure what to do on their own. So we do serve a large amount of those members. So your first stop when you came to Nothing Stronger would have been the initial evaluation with Jen. So what was that
Right.
hour like? What did she look like? What questions did she ask? And explain that hour.
Yeah, the initial evaluation was really comprehensive. She looked at everything from head to toe, didn't just focus on like my back, but kind of took into my entire body as into consideration, and which I know I appreciated with my background for sure, that she took into consideration other factors that could have been contributing to put me in a position to have potential back injury and not just focus on the back itself. So that for me was a really selling factor as to why I knew joining the gym would be the right fit for me to work through, because I did want my body to change. Right? Certainly, after you go through a significant back injury, you don't want to feel that again. At least for me, I wanted to stay mobile and continue to be mobile. So I was willing to do whatever it took to commit to enhancing, improving myself so that I could limit the risk of that happening again.
Yeah, I remember I talked with you on the training floor after your evaluation with Jen. And as I was going over the program and how we combine modifications for people that come from that room, your program started off almost half of it was back rehab. Like it was like instead of deadlifts, we're doing this, instead of squats, we're doing this. And it's completely transformed to the point like not only are you doing all the movements that we asked members to do, but you're progressing with the intensity, you're progressing with the
Right.
volume. It's so funny that you to hear you say like my back injury. I'm like, what are you talking about? Your back injury? Like I haven't even thought of like it's so
Same, I
strong now.
forget about it too. Yeah,
Yeah, and, like, that's incredible that, like, once you even just said that, I was like, "Oh my god," like, if she totally went through that thing, like, a year ago. It's like
yeah,
so it's just been incredible to see the progress that you've made because you'd allowed us to coach you, allowed us to do our job, and then after that, it was just, like, up and to the right with everything. So, it's been great seeing you get stronger. So, before you made the jump into the small group personal training, into the groups, did you have any hesitations over strength training?
probably just that I knew I wanted to do it safely, and I wanted to do it with, like, the right techniques to make sure I was not going to injure myself again, um, and, gradually build. I think that's, to me, like, one of the strongest attributes that the gym brings is that you're doing the exercises right, is you take the time to teach them and to walk everybody through and it's a small enough group that you can correct people if they're, dipping or not holding the right form throughout the strength training. So that for me was a big component for it. And just making sure that I was doing it correctly. Right. And had a way to advance them along the way too. I didn't wanna just, like, stay at the stagnant at doing the kinda same levels. I wanted to constantly grow and have variation within it as well. So, those were kind of the biggest ones on my side.
That's one thing I give you a lot of credit for is because when you are doing that combination rehab and performance program, it's easy to feel behind the group. It's easy to feel like you're not keeping up with the group or you're not doing what everybody else is doing. But you really let us coach, you really let us be like, hey, we have to do this instead, like at least for four
Mhm.
weeks or 5 weeks. And you allowed us to do that. And to your credit, like that is why you are progressing. What is one thing
I
that you what is one thing that you really, like, enjoyed about the strength training? Like, that you've really, like, almost surprised you or one thing that you really enjoy about strength training?
oh gosh, I think it's relaxing personally as you're doing it because you really have to be intentional and in the moment and thinking about what you're doing and focusing on that. So you really can't think of outside distractions. You really are focused on your technique, your breathing. So for me, I've developed a lot of relaxation, a
I like
lot
that.
of
That is such a
stress
different
reduction
that
through
is
strength training.
it's such a different answer than what I usually hear, but at the same time, from watching you train and on that answer, like, it totally makes sense because you train very deliberate. Like, when you move from circuit to circuit or exercise to exercise, you could tell there's a mindfulness there with, like how you did the single leg deadlifts today, right? When like how
Yeah.
you did my press today. Like, it is very like, everything is actionable, but we
Yeah.
see
I'm very present. I am definitely not somewhere else, which for me is relaxing to be like really in the focused on the left. And because I'm taking the time, right? I've found as I've gotten older that my days are fuller and busier, and there's a lot of demands on my time from family and other outside factors. So I made a promise to myself that I would take the time to that I'm dedicating for myself, right? Like I would actually use that hour to do what I was looking to accomplish for myself. So that is, like you said, it's really intentional. It was a decision I made and a choice that I'm making for myself so that I can continue to be helpful to my family and people who need help and support because I'm strong, because I can move, because I can, you know, stay active. That just is a really important piece for me for sure.
it makes such a big difference when you do have that strength when family members call upon you and they need you. It's like, like, you don't have to think about, I gotta go move this person, I gotta go and help this person, but
Yeah.
it's very that everything is
Yeah.
actionable. And at the same time, it's like once you get back to that phone, I mean, it's game over, right? Like, you open up that phone and the world comes at you faster than you think. But 60 minutes of like intentional, actionable behavior, it gives us so much energy for the rest of the day. Be like, all right, I can handle anything that comes my way, And we always say like
Yeah.
resistance training helps you with resistance in life. So you just automatically become a more resilient person, and we see that
Yes.
with others.
Yeah, and I think, people around me would say that they can see a dramatic difference in that year, just that because and I have done it in the past, right? It is something that in my past I have been, fitter, healthier, stronger. And then life just kind of occurred and somewhere I lost sight of that. So to be back in that again for me is, yeah, huge. And people definitely have noticed that the change and my ability to do more, now that I could a year ago, which is important because people need help. My family, everybody around me needs help. I'm the resident air conditioner person, right? Like everybody needs their air conditioners out of the windows. So somehow I've
And we
become
we
that.
have more back injuries because of taking ACs out than
Right.
you can.
They're like, "You're back." I'm like, "It's okay. I actually have been working on it." Like, I didn't just let that define me, right? It was an experience, but it's one I did not like being immobile. It just didn't work for me in long term, and I know that the risk of it is always present, so I have to be doing something like stretching and strength training and core work to make sure that I minimize the risk, right, as to the best of my ability.
Yeah, there's such a good point, and probably because you're an athletic trainer in the healthcare field, when individuals let injuries define them, it's so hard to get back to where that you were, right? When that becomes our identity, that defines you. It's just almost like a downhill slope. Like, we got to reframe the situation to get you not only back to where you were, but beyond that point. When you don't take no for an answer from your back injury, from a knee injury, from whatever injury, it's like the ceiling can be as high as you want, as long as you grab the bull by the
Yeah,
horns. Like, no, 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 I got this. So
yeah,
I did
and
want
you have
to
to
touch
be patient, your body is I think used a lot of it took a while to get to that point, and so it takes a little bit to get your body back to, like, where you can do regular things without it bothering you, and then you realize you've conquered it, and now you can build. You can continue to grow and try new things and challenge your body a little bit further.
Yeah. The We Jen and I like hosting educational events. You know, education is something that we care a lot about, and we expect to provide more of these community events to help people. So one event that we just recently put on was our menopause event. So it was called Thrive Through Change, and was a discussion about a holistic approach to perimenopause and menopause. And we had Julie Nicoletti, Lori Pigeon, and Jen talk about hormones, nutrition, strength. Like, that's an event that you attended with 40 other women. Talk to me about that event. What was the event like, and what did you learn?
Yeah, for me, was perfect timing. I thought the event itself was exceptional. It was amazing to have 3 healthcare professionals all in one spot, and the way that they were able to tie in menopause is such a big, scary phase of life for a woman to go through, and so it was wonderful to be around other women with in the same room wanting to learn and understand because it isn't something that's talked about, at least in my experience. I go to the doctor, every year for a physical, and we never really get into depth about what changes were going to occur when you reach that point of life. So it was wonderful for me to have and see it from all different perspective instead of having to go individually to each of them, right? They were all there in one spot. So you can see that there's a tie between your medical health, your nutrition, as well as your strength and body. So, they were able to help correlate all of that together. So it was a really great event and something I look forward to seeing more of for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was great how all 3 of them were in
Hmm.
line with their philosophy over, even though they're all experts in different avenues and different silos, they all come together for this, this one big event of like, we're gonna help these women like together, but from our own silo and their own perspective. And whether it's hormones, whether it's like diseases, whether it's nutrition changes, like Julie was talking about with body composition, or Jen with strength and
Yep.
understanding how training is only gonna like help you and benefit you. It's not about being big and bulky, but it's about you can create adaptations to your body if you apply the right stress at the right times. And I thought they all like I was blown away. Like women, they were
Hmm.
planning it months, but when you're in front of them, you're like they just like teed off, and it was like this is awesome to watch.
Yeah, it was. It was really, really good. And I think for me, I've just started to see changes in blood work, which I think that really resonated when she was talking through um, how, like, all of a sudden you'll be like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then you start to feel like weird pains and you can't move your arm, or, your blood work starts to go like crazy and it's been perfect your entire life and you haven't changed anything or done anything different. It's interesting to see how it correlates and then to not always, it doesn't always have to be attributed to menopause either, too. I think that was also for me a good takeaway from the medical professional that was there. She was saying, it can be other things. It doesn't always have to be that for you. So it's good to always keep in mind, but to look at it totality too for your own health, right? To look and make sure that you're considering other factors and not just assuming and brushing it off as menopause, that you're really doing due diligence on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a
Yeah, it
great
was
point.
good.
What was what was maybe like one or two big takeaways from that maybe you were like, oh, I didn't know that, or like, oh, I should really maybe I should start doing more of this. Like, was there any takeaways from that event?
Yeah, for me is probably some of the nutrition, the supplementing, uh, like the omega 3s, like the confusion, the kind of brain fog, and how diet can help with that a bit. That was pretty interesting. I think for Jen's strength training, how to vary your workouts. That was really interesting to see, like how you should do some of the high intensity work, and then look at. I think she had a second. I forget what the second thinking was, but there was like a high intensity part, and then like a second component to that workout that I think was really. It was good to see how to handle off days when you're not strength training, how best to approach them to help with your body composition and to really impact change in your body.
Yeah. If they did this event again, would you recommend it to women over 40, women over 50 on the South Shore?
1,000%. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that they take a class like this to learn more and for a comprehensive look at their own health. You can't get that everywhere. I mean, I can't think of an instance where having three renowned speakers, like really well versed in their topics, all in one spot, willing to, collaborate and answer questions and talk freely about menopause and or whatever topic that they're talking about. Yeah, I think it was really really beneficial and great to talk to the other women there too. It was really like a conducive interactive environment that made everybody feel comfortable to be a part of. And that's not easy to do when you're teaching and up there trying to like host a course, right? To make it that engaging and a comfortable environment for a topic that's, can be somewhat difficult because there are challenges for sure in that. Women definitely go through a lot when you're going through menopause. So I thought they did like a tremendous job. I think I'd be interested to see them do lots of other topics.
Yeah. The last question I like to ask everybody this question because I think there's a lot of insightful thoughts and everybody answers it a little bit different based on their experience. But what would you say to a woman who's over 40, who's over 50, who's on the fence about strength training, and they know like it's important, but they maybe don't know what
Yeah.
to do? What would you say to this person out there who just knows this is the next big jump, but they need a little bit convincing? Like, what would you tell them?
I would say to not be overwhelmed, to start simple and build a routine. And then once you have a routine, it becomes easier to build on. So it's just about not making it overwhelming. I think so many women have a lot going on, a lot of, especially in middle age, there's a lot of life that's happening around them. So it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And all it takes is just making like the one decision. Like once I decided that that was where I wanted to go and I wanted to invest in myself and make sure I got healthier, just making that one decision was all I need. And then once I made it, I had the support of you, all the other amazing individuals that are at the gym that are incredibly supportive, who don't even know your journey or just supportive from the get go. That gave me enough to build my routine and then build the consistency in so that I was able to, and now I am able to see gains after, and now it's just natural, right? I just kind of don't break the habit, right? I just know that that's what my baseline is. Like I just go every week and that's what I do. So I think take the first step and don't overwhelm yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Well, we love having you here. I love the Tuesday, Thursday, 7 a.m. group. I think it's just a bunch of
Yeah.
you fit so great into it because you're great yourself. So we appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Thanks.
But
Yeah.
all right, well,
Thanks
thanks
so
for coming on
much.
the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the 9 a.m. class suggestion as well, too. Because I was going to skip and I was going to just be like, I slept in too
Yeah,
bad.
I'm not gonna
But
let
you were
that
like,
end.
"How about 9 AM?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess that is work." So that accountability was huge today. So thank you because I needed
Yeah,
that for
anytime.
sure. Okay.
Awesome.
Catch you later.